So you've got a flat tire. You're stranded, the tow truck's an hour out, and you've got places to be. But what if you could fix it yourself in 10 minutes with a toolkit that fits in your glove box? It's exactly what I'm going to show you today. Tire plugs are fast, affordable way to get back on the road. No jack needed, no spare needed, no shop needed. But you need to know they're not for every situation. I'll show you when a plug is safe and when you need a professional patch and when to walk away before you risk a blowout. I've repaired hundreds, if not thousands of tires over my 35-year career, and today I'm breaking it all down for you. I'm going to show you the tools, the techniques, and the dangers, and I'll even show you a solid tire repair kit that you can keep in your car for an emergency. Whether you're on a road trip or stuck in the driveway, this is one skill that can save you time, money, and a lot of frustration. Let's get you rolling again safely. Today we're talking about tire repairs, specifically tire plugs. The reason I've selected this as a tire repair method is because this is an opportunity for you to get yourself out of a sticky situation, whether you're traveling on the road or you're stuck in your driveway. Like I mentioned in the intro, there are a lot of opportunities for you to get your car back on the road quickly and safely. I want to tell you a quick story. I was traveling cross country many years ago. I had a 27-foot moving truck. I had a four-wheel trailer on the back with my pickup truck on the back. I was in the middle of nowhere. I want to say it was in New Mexico somewhere, and my trailer got a flat. And I was really stuck. I was not anywhere near any town. I just happened to limp myself over to a gas station, basically a Quick Mart of some sort, and I found a tire plug kit in the middle of this Quickie Mart. You know, they're selling sodas and candy and, of course, a one tire patch or plug kit there on the shelf. So I was able to get my trailer plugged up and aired up and then get it back on the road. And I was able to finish my trip with that thing. So this is one example where if I had to wait for a tow truck, not only I got a moving truck, but now I got a trailer with my truck on top of it, and it just creates a difficult situation for you to get some help and get you back on the road quickly. So this is a scenario that I envision that if you had the tools to do this and the knowledge to do it, you might be able to save yourself a lot of hassle. So I want to walk through this procedure with you. I want to talk about tire repairs to you. There's several ways to patch or plug a tire. So the easiest way and the simplest way is a plug like we're going to use today, a string style plug. They come in a couple of different variants. There's vulcanizing plugs, there's self-vulcanizing, and then there's some that need some kind of a vulcanizing cement or rubber cement. So what I want to recommend here is to keep your traveling light load is pick up a kit that has self-vulcanizing plugs. They don't require any kind of rubber cement on them. So that just saves you one step if you're really in an emergency, okay? Now I want to also give you this caveat that there are industry standards out there for tire repairs set by rubber manufacturers and things. And I think the only acceptable repair that any of these places actually recommend is a plug patch combo. And I've got one here I wanted to show you. This is what they look like. So it'll have a patch on one side. This goes from the inside of the tire. It'll have a plug here that goes with it. So that fills the hole. You pull this through, rubber cement. We do a lot of work on the inside of the tire. It's a very cumbersome process. It's not something you can do on the road. You've got to take it to a tire shop. The tire has to be dismounted off the rim. The tire has to be prepped from the inside, and then this gets installed, and then you can reinstall the tire on the rim, air it back up, and you're ready to go again. So it's a little bit of a process. We're talking strictly here for more of a quickie, emergency type use, get you back on the road quickly, okay? So this is the approved repair from all these manufacturers of tires and things. This is pretty much the only thing that is approved from what I know. Now, there are some exceptions to using plugs in tires. So you can see here, I've got a nail that's in the middle of the tread area here. From here to here, we've got an acceptable range that we can install a tire plug on. Again, I stress that this is the recommended repair for most places. Now, that doesn't mean a plug doesn't work. I've been doing this a long time. I've installed a lot of plugs. I've seen a lot of plugs installed. They hold up for the entire life of the car generally, so it's not something that doesn't work. But the trick is you have to have it installed properly, okay? There are some scenarios where you don't want to use a tire plug. So if you've got a slash in a tire, let's say a razor blade cuts your tire, this is not a scenario where you can plug that, okay? You need to have a hole, something from a screw here. More specifically, the hole that you have has to be less than 1/4 inch in diameter, okay? These plugs, if you look at even this one, the diameter of that plug is not very big, okay? It's not much more than 1/4 inch. So we can't have it fitting loosely. It's got to be a tight fit. The plug is going to go inside the tire. It's got to fill that void entirely, otherwise they will leak. And I've seen plenty of plugs that leak over time. That just usually means they weren't installed properly, or they were installed when they shouldn't have been installed. So again, another improper installation, but can't be plugging in. I've seen cars with 2 and 3 plugs in one hole, and that's just not an acceptable situation. So you really want to be safe. Plugs are generally safe. I've seen hundreds of, if not more, plugs in tires, and no problem. They work just fine. But just keep in mind, they're not really approved by the tire manufacturers. They may void your warranty, those types of things. So yeah, use that with a little common sense. Take that with a grain of salt, however you want to use it. But I can tell you, they generally hold up for a very long time without any faults. You know, I've seen tires wear all the way down and to the point where, you know, there's no tread left and the plug's still holding in there. You want to make sure that plug gets in the steel belted radial tire zone, you know, so that belt runs the circumference of the tire here, and you want to make sure that that plug has something structurally strong underneath it, okay? And that we want to make sure it gets in that zone. You cannot plug a tire that's got a hole here on the shoulder or here in the sidewall. Definitely no. We want to get right in the center portion where the tread is. If you can do that, it's usually going to be an acceptable place to try to put a plug inside a tire. I'm holding in my hand an inexpensive tire plug repair kit. Now, I found this on Amazon. It kind of met my specifications of some things that I like in a tire repair kit. One of them is these solid metal handled tools. It makes the tool easier to work with, and you'll see the rasp also has a solid metal handle. It comes with everything you're going to need too. It's got a little razor knife to cut your plug off when you're done. It's got a nice assortment of self-vulcanizing rubber plugs, okay? And self-vulcanizing is kind of important because it doesn't require any rubber cement necessarily, okay? So if you have a self-vulcanizing plug, it can go in there dry. Now, it may be a little easier to put in with a little rubber cement on it, but it doesn't require it. So you don't have to store an extra bottle of rubber cement with you when you're using a self-vulcanizing plug, okay? We got some pliers in here to help you extract whatever's in your tire. And you've got a tire pressure gauge here. The only other thing you'd be required to have while you're on the road would be some kind of a pump to inflate your tire. Obviously, if your tire is low, you can fix the repair probably, but you won't be able to inflate the tire when you're done. You want to make sure you can get it back to the proper pressure. So just wanted to demonstrate this kit. It also has in here a little lubricant that you can use to help with the rasp when you're trying to enlarge the hole and make sure it's the proper size for the plug. And we're going to go through the little step here in just a moment. But just wanted to let you know that there are inexpensive kits like this one. I can put a link to this one in the description, or you can find your own on there. Just look for the self-vulcanizing plugs if you can find them. That usually works best, okay? Let's get right into this repair here and show how it works. The first thing we need to do is we make sure to have some air in the tire. If this tire is completely flat, it's going to be really difficult to use these tools. We've got to force them through the hole on here, and if the tire is collapsing because there's no air in it, it's going to be really difficult to do that. So you want to put some air in the tire, enough where it won't collapse. Now, this tire has been leaking a slow leak from this nail, but it's not empty. So if you were empty, you hook up your portable inflator, go ahead and put 10, 15 pounds worth of pressure in there. That should be enough for you to be able to get this rasp through and get the tire plug installed, and then you can air it up the rest of the way. Hopefully that makes sense. So the next thing you've got to do, you've got to find some way to get this out. Now, this little kit here comes with these small pliers. We'll give them a try and see if they work. If that doesn't work, I usually use here in the shop, if I want to take something out, I've got a set of side cutters. This is what they look like. And side cutters are also sometimes referred to as dikes, but they have this little ramp on either side. And what that allows you to do is really get underneath the head of a nail nicely, because they are very thin on the edges, and then as you squeeze, it ramps the screw or nail out with you, or it allows you to grab it with that. And these are very sharp teeth on the side cutters or dikes, and allows you to grab that and really work it out, okay? Sometimes with these needle nose style pliers, you can't get a great grip. So it's nice they include them in the kit, but just keep in mind, you might struggle a little with these. Let's see if we can get underneath this thing. They're pretty small and thin, so you might be able to just work it out. Use it to leverage a little underneath these screws and see if you can pull this thing. See, it's a little bit tricky to get that with these. Now, we will come out, I'm sure, if we work it hard enough. Just be careful, don't stab yourself with them. So again, it's a little difficult with that, okay? So let's try it with the dikes, and I'll show you how easy these work, and that's why I like these. Might be worth keeping a pair in your car. Now I'm underneath here, I'm just grabbing, and then I can just lever off the tires. We want to push down, and this thing should work its way out here. It's in there pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab it, twist it a little. It's got a lot of bite on there, a lot of threads from the screw are grabbing. Okay, there we go. So we've got it out. So this is why I like this tool better. So your next step is to enlarge this hole. So it's right here in the middle of the tread. Boom, it's in a nice spot for us. And they give you a little bit of lubricant on here. Now I don't always use this lubricant. As a matter of fact, usually I don't if I'm putting a plug in. But it doesn't hurt to put a little on there. This will help this tool work a little bit smoother for you, especially if you're laying on your back on the ground trying to put a plug in. I've done that many times, and it's hard to have any leverage when you're laying on the ground. So we'll go ahead and find this hole. Now, I want to remind you guys, there's certain things you shouldn't repair. Obviously, if you have a hole that's too big, but also if you have multiple holes. So I've seen that before where you've got more than one hole in the same spot. Maybe piece of metal went in with 2 prongs or something. So don't try to repair that. Also, if you've got the slash I told you, or if you got any kind of deformation in the carcass, so if you had a bubble in it or something, don't try to fix that. If you have any exposed cords from the inside, metal cords or something, don't try to repair that. It's going to make it difficult to repair and actually hold for you. So this is about as clean of a screw hole as you're going to get. We're just going to put that in a hole. You can hear that we've got it in there, and you want to try to match the angle of that. So let me show you here with this screw. If this screw is going straight in, that's the angle you want to match with the rasp. If it went a little bit from the side, you want to try to match that angle. So it's just important that you don't make the hole any larger, and we want to kind of match the penetration of the foreign object that's in the tires. Now this one's going straight in. We put this rasp in here. You can hear it get quiet, and then we're going to work it in. And then we're just kind of want to pull this thing in and out a couple times. And we're trying to, you can hear how it's enlarging the hole here, and it's getting louder. Okay, so if you don't make the hole the right size, the plug doesn't hold as well, and it's difficult to get in. Now you can hear this tool. It takes a little bit of work here, as you see, but you can hear this tool kind of grinding against the steel cords in there. That's a good sign. We want to make sure that this thing is going to hold firmly, okay? All right, so we're out. I'm going to focus in here for 1 second, keep some air in the tire, and then we need to get our plug installed on the tool. So here we've got the installation tool. This tool has got a little opening in here, a window, and you can see the tip of it is split, okay? And it's split for a reason so we can make sure we get the plug to go through here. There's a couple of ways you can do that. And usually I just grab the end of one of these. You try not to get your fingers all over the plugs. I'm going to tell you these guys, these self-vulcanizing plugs are really sticky. So it's part of the process on here. You can see how they really stick. I'm going to try to feed this through the eyelet just a little bit and grab it from the other side. So we'll take this here. We don't want to touch anywhere in here because this is where most of the sealing is going to happen, probably from here to here. So if you have to, I usually just squeeze the end a little. I try to force it through the eyelet enough where I can grab it with the pliers. I don't know if you can see, there's a corner sticking out here. And once I see that corner sticking out, then I can grab it and try to pull it through the eyelet. Okay? We want to pull it through about halfway. Right about there. Okay? And that's what it should look like when you've got the plug installed properly. And the next step for us is we're just going to pull this rasp out. We've got to make sure we have air in that tire still. If you don't, you want to inflate it. And then we're going to insert this tool in until we've got a little bit of this plug sticking out. Find your hole again. Then you just want to push this through. I usually twist and push at the same time until I can force this in there. Yeah. All right, so you see it takes a bit of work to get in there, and that's kind of what you want. You don't want it to go in easily, because then it's going to come out easily before it adheres to the bonds to the tire. Okay, so we're just going to leave a little bit hanging out, maybe you know, 15 millimeters or so. You want to get the majority of the plug inside the tire. Okay, and then once you do that, you can usually hold this little piece on here and help you pull it out, or just pull it straight out. If the plug's coming with it, you want to kind of hold on to it. There you have it. Probably not the best place to demonstrate that, but now your plug's out a little bit. You've got a little bit of each ear hanging out. Then you'll take this little razor knife, and then you can cut this down almost flush with the tire. Careful, don't cut yourself. There you go. Now, if you left a little hanging out over here, a little extra, it's not going to hurt anything. That will wear down with the tire over time, but you don't want to leave a bunch sticking out where it's, you know, thumping down the road or something like that. So that's about all we need there, and then we need to air this thing up. So if you need to air this up from your car, the best thing you can do is have a portable inflator. So something like this one here is nice because it packages in a box, and a little package here, you can keep it in your trunk with your emergency tools. So if you had a little tire repair kit and this inflator, this is great. And it also plugs in to your cigarette lighter adapter. So this has got a nice long cable on it, plus a nice long hose. It's got a gauge built in, and it's also got a little valve that actually screws onto your tire. So you can hook this up and walk away from it, plug it in, watch the pressures, and once you get your pressure set, you're all set, and you can put this back in the bag and back in the trunk. So something like this, I think you can buy, you know, probably for 50 or 60 bucks. There are cheaper inflators if you wanted to find something. It doesn't really matter what you use. What does matter, though, is to make sure that you can get enough pressure out of it and it doesn't take forever. So some of the inflators that you buy don't have enough pressure really to get enough air in the tire other than taking a long period of time. So there's all kinds of stuff you can use. This is just one example. And I even have at home, I've got a little, you guys know I love the Milwaukee tools, and I've got a little cordless 12-volt Milwaukee tire inflator at home. I use it for the cars, use it for the motorcycles, I use it for all kinds of stuff. So it's a great tool to have around. I'm gonna have to plug it into anything as long as I've got a battery that's charged, and I can bring it with me on my bicycle. When I go mountain biking, I leave it, you know, in the truck with my toolkit. It's just nice to have. So it doesn't matter what you use, just have something, okay? So for the demonstration here, I'll go ahead and just use our shop air compressor. You can look on your door decal on your driver's door and see what the recommended pressures are for your car, front and rear. And then just go ahead and inflate your tire to whatever the recommendations are, okay? I'll set this one here at about 35 PSI. And then I want to show you how we check for a leak here. Now, if you're on the road, you're probably not going to be able to check it on your own unless you're keeping a soapy water bottle handy. But you could certainly use a water bottle if you wanted to. You know, just you don't necessarily need the soap. If you have a large enough leak, it'll be pretty obvious. But it's not a bad idea if you can get your tire with the repair up at the top, so you can let gravity help you out a little bit. You can certainly put some water on top of it and just look for bubbles, okay? I'll show you what we're gonna do here. All right, so we've got our tire set to 35. All right, so now that we've got our tire repaired, it's inflated to the manufacturer's recommendations found in the door decal. If you're just traveling, you hopefully have a bottle of water or something you can put on here. This usually is better than nothing. In the shop, we like to use a little soapy water in a spray bottle. It seems to work a little better. But I would just take this thing, put the tire upright so that your repair is at 12 o'clock. And keep in mind, guys, you're probably doing this all on the car. You could take your wheel off if you wanted to, but I'm going to show you a couple of methods to get this in the right spot, good spots for you to do this repair on the car in a front tire versus a rear tire. I'll show you a couple of those things on the ground here on a demonstration car, but I wanted this off the car for you to be able to see the steps here. And it gives you a good idea too how difficult it was. You can see I struggled a little bit trying to get the plug tool back out. This is normal. That's kind of how it works. If it's coming out easy, you probably made the hole too big, or the hole is already too big. So just take a little water and just pour it on top and see if you can fill the area around the plug, and then look for bubbles in there. So this one is holding fine. I don't see any bubbles anywhere, and this one is going to be a good repair here. So You could easily do that for yourself on the road. I just want to talk for a second here how you might locate this nail and how you would approach repairing it on the car without taking the wheel off. A lot of times you're going to be on the road, you may be by yourself, and it's important you know how to locate this nail, whatever you've got. So we understand the tire rotates 360 degrees. At some point it's got to show itself. So what I usually do, if it's on a front tire, I go ahead and turn the tire outwards, and then we just roll the car forward a little bit. If you're completely by yourself, you can see a nice window here of the tire just by getting out and looking at the car. So if you don't see the nail, you can go ahead and roll it forward, maybe another foot or so, and then come back out and take another look with the wheel turned. And I would continue that process until you find the nail. It's going to be in one of these areas, this zone, you know, over the course of maybe 3 or 4 tries, okay? And once you find out where your nail is, I put a little white paint here to indicate where a nail might be. You want to put it in an area where you're comfortable working. Now, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to use tools with my right hand here. It's not as easy for me to work around the opposite side of this car with my left hand, so this is why I usually turn this wheel to the right. If I was working on the other side, I might leave it turned to the right also, but be working on the back side of the tire. So I hope that makes sense. Whatever you do, just make sure you have some room to work around here. Now, you may be more comfortable up a little bit higher, so stop the car here if that's where you see your nail or your screw, so you have some room to work, okay? The lower you get, the harder it gets, the more you've got to get lower to the ground, okay? And then these tools, we saw how difficult they can be to rasp the tire, widen the hole, and then install the plug and pull that tool back out again. So just make sure you're in an area that you're comfortable working and you don't have to take this tire off the car. All right, so I hope that makes sense for the front here. If you have somebody with you, you got a passenger in the car, well, I would just have them stand outside the car. You roll forward very slowly, and they can tell you to stop whenever they see the item, the foreign object in your tire, and that just makes it a little bit easier if you have a helper. But if not, it's perfectly doable. I've done it before. All right, so on the back tire, we've got a problem. We can't turn the wheel, which doesn't give us the same amount of access that we had in the front. So if you've got a nail in the back tire, I put a little mark on this one here just to indicate where you might have an object in the tire. This is going to be the zone between this area and probably here where you need to get that nail so you can work on it, especially if you're right-handed. Okay, now you're also welcome to get down on your side, and this is going to be an easier way to do it and work from this location, okay? So you're going to find a spot that's comfortable, but either way, you really want to be in this range. Now, if I'm right-handed and I'm on the driver's side of the car, I'm probably going to work from this area in the back. Same location, probably from here to here, but on the back side of the tire so I can leverage my strong arm and my good arm, okay? So this is a little bit more difficult to do from this side because it's hard to get any force. When I have the front wheel turned like that, I can put that object up a little bit higher, I can stand up and I can really work this tool a little bit more with some leverage from my body. These are a little bit more difficult to do on the back on the car, but still perfectly doable. When you're in a situation and you're desperate and you need to get back on the road, where there's a will, there's a way, you're going to figure it out. So just want to give you those tips and techniques where you can do this on the car. Now, you always have the option. You have a jack in the trunk. You have a lug wrench. Take the tire off the car if you need to do that. Pull it off, and then you can work on it. Put that thing upright, maybe squeeze it with your knees, and then you can work these tools. So, all right, friends, that's all I've got for you on putting a plug in your tire. Hope all that made sense to you. It can be a little bit tricky. You might sweat a little bit. So be it. If you're in a situation that's a little bit sticky and you need to get out of it, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. So hope it all makes sense to you. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following the channel. Please like and subscribe. Hit the bell so you get some notifications when we release new content every Thursday. And don't forget to check out some more content right here. We've got lots of great videos for you. Thanks.